Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Office Bloke Aidan.
Here we are, Office Bloke Daz Sports Edition, covering all the sports for you. If you like it, subscribe please.
Please.
A massive change is coming to the NBA. Massive. Do you know what it is?
What could this be? Something about a lottery.
Yeah.
It's a draft lottery.
Draft lottery.
Is that just what's in the background at the moment?
Yeah. This is Jimmy High Roller, which is an account.
It's not going to
you like
start. It's
go
going to
watch.
start talking about the in-season tournament.
It says draft lottery. A massive change is coming. Could be. Let's have a look, see what it's about. Massive change is coming to the NBA.
On April 1st of this year, the NBA and its players agreed to a new collective bargaining agreement. The announcement of this new CBA broke news for about a day or two, and then it was shrugged off in the midst of the regular season. For the most part, it's a bunch of contract jargon, new financial structuring and incentives, nuanced agreements between owners and players that us fans couldn't care less about. But built into the details of this fairly routine league adjustment are three major rule changes to how the NBA will operate. Three adjustments to rules, systems, awards, and honors that have been in place for decades and will change the way the NBA and its players navigate the season. Today's sponsor is HelloFresh. Brothers, it's 2023. Does anyone really have time to be cruising around the grocery store spending way too much money on meals that... Coming into effect starting with the 2023-2024 NBA season, the league has a new CBA. Among the slosh of financial mumbo-jumbo that I couldn't give a rat's ass about, there are three major changes taking place from this season forward. The first one is a new rule regarding the minimum number of games a player must play to receive individual awards and or be eligible for all NBA team selection. Previously, this threshold was 58 games, or about 70% of the season. But under the new CBA rules, a player now must play at least 65 games in a season to qualify for all awards and honors. The overarching goal of this change being to reduce the amount of load management around the league. And surely, this change will do just that. Over the last 3 seasons, of the 45 players who were selected to an All-NBA team, 15 of them wouldn't have even qualified under the new rules. In fact, LeBron James would have missed the cut in all of the last 3 seasons. And 15 superstars not playing enough games over the course of 3 seasons may not sound like much, until you realize that in the previous 19 seasons combined, only 15 players made All-NBA teams without playing at least 70% of the season. A requirement that pushes for about 10% more games played throughout a season for every superstar around the league may have a larger impact on the game than you would think. Which leads Ben Rohrbach of Yahoo Sports to beg the question, is it worth squeezing a handful more games from these stars to risk rewarding less prestigious candidates? Yes, absolutely. And this minimum game requirement will also be in effect for individual awards, such as the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and so on. The minimum game requirement here will have less of an effect on the league since voters are already in a silent agreement that in order to be the best at anything, you have to play most of the games. This is the exact reason why, excluding shortened seasons, there's only been 2 MVP recipients that played less than 70 games since the league moved to the 82-game schedule in 1968. Bill Walton in 1978, and Joel Embiid just this past season. But still, we will inevitably see this new rule begin to change the way stars around the league navigate each season. Over the past decade, here are award winners that, under the new rules, wouldn't have even been eligible, including Jaren Jackson Jr. for Defensive Player of the Year in 2023. Now, the one caveat to this rule change is that there will be exceptions under specific circumstances. For example, if a player has a season-ending injury, the minimum game requirement will drop from 65 to 62 games. Also, any game where a player plays at least 20 minutes will count as a game played. And I think we can all see exactly how this exception will be exploited. And to demonstrate this, I want to point y'all to AC Green. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Green was a solid contributor in the NBA, but his legacy is remembered for his untouchable record for consecutive games played in an NBA career. From 1986 to 2001, AC Green did not miss a single basketball game. Not one. 1,192 consecutive games over the course of 16 years. A record that I'd be willing to bet anything will never be broken for the rest of time. But What people fail to mention is that in order to set this record, AC Green had numerous games where he would simply check into the game for a few possessions and then check back out. The man was well aware of his streak, and he would do anything in his power to keep it going until the day he retired. It's not a matter of if stars around the league will check into a game and then inexplicably check back out after 21 minutes. It's a matter of how many stars will do this and how often. But this rule change is certainly a step in the right direction. Now, the next rule change that was included in the new CBA is one that fans have been asking for years. The NBA has become a positionless league. Is Steph Curry a point guard, or is he really a shooting guard? Probably a little bit of both. Is Jimmy Butler a power forward? Of course not. And yet he's listed as one. If you look up the words shooting guard in the dictionary, you'll find a picture of Klay Thompson, and yet he's listed as a small forward. Positions don't matter, and the NBA is finally taking notice of this starting next season and the way that they vote for all NBA teams. Because from this upcoming season forward, all NBA teams will no longer be restricted to 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. Instead, all NBA teams will be positionless. The 5 players who receive the most first-place votes will simply be first-team All-NBA. Players who earn the 6th through 10th most votes will be second-team All-NBA, and 11th through 15th will be named third-team All-NBA. This change in the structure of how all NBA teams are chosen will fundamentally change the contractual leverage of players around the league and the legacy they leave behind. This past season, Nikola Jokic, the best player in the world, didn't even make first-team All-NBA. Only one center is allowed to make first-team, and that spot went to Joel Embiid. Rudy Gobert has 4 All-NBA selections in his career. You want to know how many All-NBA teams Vince Carter made in his 22-year career? 2. I know, right? Guess how many All-NBA teams Ray Allen has made in his career? 2. What about Dennis Rodman? You guessed it, 2. In fact, Rudy Gobert has more career All-NBA selections than Vince Carter, Ray Allen, Dennis Rodman, DeMarcus Cousins, Manu Ginobili, Draymond Green, Kevin Love, Alonzo Mourning, Klay Thompson, Bill Walton, James Worthy, Devin Booker, Chris Bosh, Kevin McHale, Earl Monroe, Derrick Rose, and Peja Stojakovic. Appalling. The old All-NBA voting system was broken, and it had been for years. But the most egregious case of this failed voting system came back in 2016, when DeAndre Jordan, who was never, at any point in his career, even considered a top 30 player in the league, made first-team All-NBA. That's right. Because of this voting system, DeAndre Jordan was virtually named a top 5 player in the NBA. That same season, Kevin Durant, at his apex, did not make first-team All-NBA. Change was in need, and to demonstrate just how much these alterations will affect the NBA, here are the All-NBA teams from 2023. Now, considering the new minimum game requirements and the positionless voting, this is how the 2023 All-NBA teams would look under the new rules according to voting results. Giannis, Steph, Butler, Lillard, and LeBron all missed too many games to make the cut. Jokic makes first team with Embiid, Sabonis, Fox, and Randle all get promoted to second team, and 4 players in Markkanen, Holiday, Brunson, and Anthony Edwards all make their first All-NBA team. Now, the last major change that we'll see in this upcoming season is the new in-season tournament. No official structure of the tournament has been announced yet, but the basic framework is set, and it'll look something like this.
Do you agree with that with the players and the voting system?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's if it's positionless, but the teams that go out, I don't know how the NBA All-Star Game works. Is it team 1 starts the game, does it?
No, that's just like they're not actually playing.
Oh, it's not the All. That's now they play the All-Star games.
No.
Ah, okay, right, okay, that makes sense then. That's just like an award.
Yeah.
Like you make the All-Star.
You get All NBA. There's no All-Star, All NBA first team.
Right, got you. I was misunderstanding that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so if you're getting the All NBA, it doesn't matter which position you play, does it? You're voting for the top 5 players in the
No,
the
but
league.
it didn't like it used to be. Like you could only have two guards, 2 forwards, and 1 centre.
Yeah, I understand that bit. What I'm saying though is that doesn't make sense, or does it, that format? Because you could have, if you can only get 1 centre, another centre might be the best player one of the best players in the league, and he wasn't getting in.
That's what we were saying about Jokic not getting in.
Strange, right? But it's changing, so it's make it better. And I'm not sure on the people pay a lot of money to go and watch sport, and it's becoming very commercialised, isn't it, across the world for all sports now. And it's where the big money's at. But to get these big players that are not playing when you've paid to go and watch, if you want to go and watch the Lakers and LeBron James ain't playing, you kind of like, and if you make that trip,
I know, yeah.
to go and watch it from anywhere in the world.
What was it that Paul George said? He was like on an interview. He was like, all players want to play.
Yeah.
It's just the physios come in and say, it's better, if you play this game, you have a risk of getting a big injury. If you just sit out, then you'll be fine next week. So they sit out. But I don't know if like there's more behind it and they're sitting out for other reasons.
Yeah, could be.
The league will be divided into 6 pools of 5 teams. Pools will be comprised of teams from the same conference. And that's about the extent of this plan making any sense. Because out of the established pools of teams, there will be designated days during the first 6 weeks of the season where teams will play within their pool. The winner of each 6 pools will advance to a single elimination stage along with 2 wildcard teams. The league has yet to announce how these wildcard teams will be determined, so maybe record. The semifinals and finals will be played at a neutral site, and the players on the winning tournament team will receive $500,000 each. But here's where it gets really weird. Each NBA team will only be scheduled for 80 games on the season. Teams that do not advance to the knockout round of the tournament will have 2 games added to their schedule, and the teams that make the final round of the tournament will play 83 total games. So let me get this straight. This new in-season tournament will affect the scheduling of the regular season. It will have qualifying rounds built throughout the season. It will lead to some teams playing more games in a season than others, but most importantly, I don't know if anyone's even gonna care. The teams that are already good might not care about the in-season tournament because they have bigger goals. And the teams that have no chance at contending for a championship and might care to win the tournament probably won't have a shot. I think the single elimination format could work in favor of less capable teams, but are the title contenders for the postseason not also the same teams that will be favored to win the in-season tournament? Will the rich not just get richer while bad teams continue to have no shot at winning anything? Over the last decade, the NBA has added a handful of new awards that players can win throughout the season. The Hustle Award, Teammate of the Year Award, Clutch Player of the Year, Eastern and Western Conference MVPs. These extra awards get more players and fan bases involved. But if we're being completely honest, no one really cares about these additive accolades. Who won the Hustle Award in 2020? Who won the Teammate of the Year Award in 2021? Similar to these secondary awards, I think the midseason tournament could be a fun detour from the regular season, but I'm not sure how much value or even importance it will hold, especially considering it will uproot the entire structure of the regular season. But what do y'all think? Do you like the changes coming to the NBA? If you had the power, what changes would you make? If the 5 best players in the league are 5 point guards, does it make sense to have them all first team All-NBA? What if the 10 best players in the league all play less than 65 games? Would it really make sense to have the 11th most valuable player in the NBA win the MVP? How does Rudy freaking Gobert have more All-NBA selections than Vince Carter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, until next time.
I don't think he's Rudy Gobert's biggest fan, is he?
Jimmy High Roll. That's my go-to channel for basketball.
Yeah.
He really sort of like talks sense, and he's very fair and balanced the way he gives his opinions. But the in-season tournament, I think for me, I quite enjoy that.
I think it'll be alright, but
something different.
I didn't know that whoever makes the final will play more games, one more game than everyone else, and it goes towards the regular season.
Yeah.
Which is a bit, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I agree with that. It probably should just be a standalone tournament, shouldn't it?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot better if it didn't affect the regular season.
It'd probably be a standalone tournament where you can use regular season as the knockout round.
But they didn't want like more games, did they? So they wanted this new tournament, but they didn't want to add more games. So they've just said we'll just count it into the regular season.
Oh, I don't know. Even if you allow like your secondary team, not your starting 5, but your second team to sort of like participate in it. But you've got to have one superstar in the team at start.
Yeah, but that's kind of what everyone's not wanting.
Yeah.
Going and then everyone just starting the second.
I mean, we have in-season tournaments over here in our sport. In when I say our sport, in football, what we watch.
Yeah.
And we've got 3. We have 3 in-season tournaments. We have the Champions League. We have the League Cup. We have the FA Cup.
Yeah, and then we have the league that we're in.
And then you play the regular league season. So there's like you can
don't get confused. Champions League's still a cup.
Champions League is a cup, yeah. It's a league.
It says league.
It starts off as a league and then goes into knockout.
Yeah, it starts off like groups though. It's not really a league.
It's a league, still a league. It's a league of 4 teams.
So there's like 8 leagues.
Yeah, and then it goes into knockout.
Yeah.
But it's FA Cup's just knockout, one game, knockout. Same as the League Cup,
unless
one
you
game,
draw,
knockout.
then you play
unless
again.
you draw, play again, yeah. But they're even doing away with some of them to try and lessen the wants. But it's all about money. Money comes into it, commercialisation. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And if the more money they can get out of you, the more money they can pay the wages to the players, and the more money the players earn.
Yeah.
It's that's what it is in sport. You see that across the board with every sport now. All commercialisation, try to squeeze that last penny out of the fan, and it's some of the sports, and I know certainly for football over here, it's becoming ridiculous. It's becoming crazy expensive, especially when the current climate is the cost of living crisis and all this kind of stuff. It's probably the wrong time for them to be squeezing everything. But I get messages from the team we support, Manchester City, and some of the emails I get from them asking, am I interested in stuff? I'm like, are you for real?
Yeah.
I can do this myself for like a third of the price. But that's what it is. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah. Cheers.